All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the latest edition of the Unstoppable live stream. I got myself and Ish here today. No
What's
third
up?
parties. We're keeping it tight. Ish and I, you gotta close the circle. Can't let just anyone in. There's
Oh,
there's sharks in the water out there, Ish, as you've seen recently on Twitter.
hold on. Let me take off my boxing gloves. I thought Ed was coming. I thought we were having a. I thought.
I was ready for that. We tried to get Ed on. I mean, if you haven't seen, there's been some drama. Ish is a drama queen. We know that.
A
That's why we
drama.
love him.
I'll
That's
prefer
why we
drama
have him
king.
here.
Hello.
Drama
He.
king.
He. They. Him. Him.
Yeah.
Him. Yeah. Him.
I forgot you're an LA California boy. I forgot you're
Him.
sensitive to those things.
Him. Alpha him.
That's right.
Okay.
He is
Nothing
him.
feminine.
He is him.
Yeah. He is
Yeah.
him, and hi, I'm him.
So what's going on with this drama, Ish? Tell us,
Yo,
drama
first of all,
king.
send me the link. Let me share it on my X so we can get people in here. There's no drama.
Just go to the Unstoppable Domains Twitter and you can see the live stream. Share
Yeah,
that one.
there's really no drama. It's social media, people come on and cosplay different roles. And sometimes, you just see an opportunity to make some quick money. And I just saw some discrepancies and I made a bet. Ed said he had 5,000 domains and I disputed it. And I said, I'll bet him $5,000. And it sort of spiraled into this back and forth that I honestly don't want to engage with or engage in, but it is what it is. I've never ran from a fight, man, and I'm undefeated like Mayweather. So it is what
Well,
it
I
is.
I do want to give Ed, an opportunity to respond. I invited Ed on. It was very short notice, so we'll give him an opportunity. I'm trying to find the original tweet here.
So I can give you the context while you look for it.
Here it is.
Ed, I met Ed, actually reached out to Ed because he was trying to buy a domain name. Now everyone knows that I love outbounding, and in my outbounding attempt, I connected with Ed. He was trying to buy a name related to the word lunch, Launch. Um, I own a really good name, launchcommunity.com, that in the past we had declined a $10,000 offer for. My brother and I actually own that name. Anyways, I offered him the name. He was trying to buy another name for $55,000. And we had a back and forth where, I was outbounding the names to what I thought was a founder in the brand hacking space. I attended some of his lives. It seemed like a smart guy. Nothing against him, but the deal fell through, but he wasted a lot of my time. So admittedly, maybe there's a little bit of a grudge there for me, but I never held a grudge against him. I was just like, hey, I couldn't convince this guy to buy a name. But I started getting kind of wary when he put out a tweet that he was trying to buy the name for 55,000. GoDaddy wasn't accepting his credit card, but I just never really cared for it. Then I approached him. I said, hey, man, I can get you the name launch.com, which is owned by Verizon. I can, submit an offer. How much are you willing to pay for that? Oh, I'll pay $2 million for that. So I reached out to them, and eventually he said he was going to handle it himself. And then one day I saw a tweet where he announced launch.com. So I'm like, oh, this guy is the real deal. He just purchased launch.com. He said he makes $1 million from his day job. He makes $15 million a year buying digital assets. I actually was looking up to him like, this is someone I want to network with and I can learn from. But I started noticing the discrepancies when I observed that the link to launch.com was IUNCH.com. If you put up the screen, I'll show you what I mean. Right?
So it was just
It was just a
deceptive
cloud.
misspelling.
It was a intentional, lack of better words, fraudulent move. So if you go in your browser and you type in I,
Yeah, I just did. It redirected to that.
yeah, but it looks like L, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And what
You're
did
saying he owns this?
he owns IAUNCH.com, but I want you to type that in the browser and let's,
IAU ain't.
yeah, put it in the browser.
You can't see my nav bar where I'm
Yeah, I mean, if you put in the
putting the
browser.
address.
So do you see where it leads to?
Yeah.
It leads to, what does that look like? Just on first sight, what does that look like? Read what it says.
Launch.
Looking for beta testers must have launched on product hunts. Launch, right? But the website also looks like LAUNCH, but really it's IAUNCH. So I didn't say nothing. I just said, maybe he's
And
just playing
then
some.
launch.com is not resolving here.
Exactly. It's owned by Verizon. So that was sort of like when I was like, what's up with this guy? I never said nothing till today publicly about it. And then, he came on my spaces a few times and expressed how he didn't like domainers. He thought it was a weird group of people. That rubbed me off the wrong way. And then he came on my spaces, and I have a lot of witnesses because my spaces get over 1,000 listeners. And he said that, oh, guys, I just want to let you guys know that I sold 28 domain names this week that I just hand registered. And we're like, what? Wait, hold on. How much did you sell them for? Oh, between $5,000 and $9,000 or something crazy. Don't quote me verbatim. And, I just basically told him, I don't believe you. Can you prove us? I remember Bruce and Todd were in the room and they almost like ran him out of the room because it was such a blatant lie and disrespectful to the people listening. So at that point, I just thought I lost all respect for Ed, respectfully. And,
Lack of respectfully.
yeah, I always add respectfully. So you can't say that I'm rude. I lost all respect for Ed, respectfully. And I just started noticing a lot more discrepancies and it became sort of like an inside joke between me and a few people. I'm like, he's at it again, that type of thing. It wasn't anything that was meant to be public. But I'm the type of person, if you keep bullshitting, at some point, I'm going to kind of like subtly call you out. And I just said to him, and then at some point when you guys started doing $5 Fridays, he was like, I need to get to 1,000 names. I emphatically remember seeing that. So I was really alarmed when I saw that he posted that he had 5,000 domain names because I know how, you know, first of all, he's new in the space. Secondly, you guys just started doing $5.com. You haven't done it he doesn't buy anything except it's $5. He only hand registers name per his own tweets. So I was like, there's no way you could have amassed that many hand registrations in such a short time. And so I said, let's do it. Let's make a bet. And then he said, no, I'll bet you that I have 10,000 names. I was like, I'll stick with the 5,000 names and I'll bet you $5,000. Ed had to do was say, yes, I accept that bet and show proof that he had 5,000 names. Then he went into this spiral about, I'll bet you I have more names than you for your portfolio. And I just ignored it. And
And now
then,
we're up to 1 BTC or 10 BTC
yeah, which
betting.
if you're not going to bet me $5,000 that you have 5,000 names, the bet's off.
I
And
mean,
I'm
for
not,
10 BTC, you just buy, a million domains wholesale, and then
yeah, I mean, and
you win the bet.
and
Easy
then
money.
if you're
Rinse and
acting like
repeat.
if you're acting like you own launch.com, if you're lying about selling 28 domain names, someone else sent me a DM about how Ed wasted their time. If you're acting like you had a hard time paying $55,000 and GoDaddy wasn't accepting your money, in my assessment, it's just full of shit, respectfully. Respectfully. And, he doesn't have to like me. I don't have to like him, but he goes off on this tweet. And if you want to go through it, we can go through it. It's just hilarious. It's like,
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into the cattiness here, the high school cattiness, but he
yeah,
does call you out on your respectfully, which is funny.
respectfully. Yeah.
I
What did
mean,
he say about
so
the
I don't
respectfully?
know Ed. I want to give Ed a
No
fair
one
shake
knows
because
Ed. That's the point. No one knows who the fuck he is. He wants clouts and he's going about it the wrong way. He's going about it by degrading the process of domaining. He's going about it by stating things in a way that robs people off the wrong way, especially me, right? And it's social media. You could push back on people's perspectives and keep it respectful. So I don't think there's anything disrespectful about a bet. And truthfully, I don't think there's anything respectfully when you tell somebody, I think you're full of shit. All you need to do is prove to me that you're not full of shit. Or you can always block me. A lot of people have me blocked, right? That's okay. But if you're saying things that, you know, aren't aligned with the way that I think, and I keep seeing you in my feed, either you block me or I block you. And I generally don't like blocking people unless they offend me. He hasn't offended me to block him, but he said things that I've challenged, and that has made him get in his feelings.
Sure. Well, I mean, we're all betting men, and the best way to get to the truth is to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, and
So I appreciate leaning into the bet.
so
10
where are we now?
BTC sounds a little too aggressive.
Where are we now with the 10 BTC? What are we betting? Let me see.
But he's
Let me let
saying,
me let me
he's
assess
saying
it.
Matt, our CEO Matt is going to arbitrate, and we're
He's
going
looking.
to
He's look.
measure portfolios.
Listen,
I want to give Ed a fair shake. I've always had pleasant interactions with Ed, however minimal, on Twitter. He looks like he's doing some data analysis. He's posting some interesting tweets every now
and
and
that's
then.
another
So
thing.
I want to give Ed a fair shake. Ed, you're welcome to come on the pod. We can hash this out,
I think that would be the right thing to do.
respectfully.
But let's talk about that
And we'll,
data.
of course, facilitate the betting. I mean, I love the degeneracy that you guys have going here. It's beautiful.
Everybody
We're
knows.
totally on board with this.
Everybody knows.
We
I
need a
love
poly
roulette.
market for this.
Yeah, everyone knows I love roulette. I love going to Vegas. Everyone knows I'm a
Yeah.
bettor. I don't have a problem taking a calculated bet. And here's the thing. Let's talk about the data. Ed comes up with this data. He came on the spaces and said is a mathematician and an economist. I don't doubt it, but he comes up with this. Look at this data. I analyzed 30,000 domains sold in the aftermarket in the past 90 days, sampled from 100,000 domains. Here's what I learned. The median value of $300. 83% sold between 100 to 1,000. 16% sold from 1,001 to $1.2 million. GoDaddy sold 24,747. I don't know the validity of this data, but what anyone can infer from this data is going to vary from person to person. And you can't replace experience. The truth about domains is they're homogeneous. Every domain is unique. So you can't lump domain into a commodity class like, rice, cocoa, gold, copper. It doesn't work like that. These are some of the things that he does for attention. I was on a spaces yesterday and I heard him say that he bought 10,000 domain names and is going to sell them. He's going to sell 10% of them for $199 to $299. Right? It's not happening. You're not getting a 10% sell through rate because you're reducing the price of your domain names. Like he doesn't know anything about domaining. I really
Well,
doubt that Ed has sold a single domain.
well, I mean, the thing with that is that you're assuming that the quality of all names is the same, which is of course not true. And so you can just, like any commodity asset, you can just, you know, change the pricing and the demand will be
Right.
respond proportionally. And that's just not the case. Anyways, I don't want to get too deep into this. Ed, come on, let's hash this out. We can have a good
Hey, I'll bet.
gentlemanly
Hey,
sporting
can
bets
I do
here.
can I do a side bet with you? I'll bet you $250 it won't show up. You want to take the over or the under?
I think he'll come on.
So you want to bet 250?
Yeah, I'll
You can
bet you
make it.
250.
Can we make it? Can we make it 500? He
You
won't
know,
show
you
up.
know him better than I. And if
I
you
don't
came
know
on your
him.
space,
Hey, listen. You
you
just
came
said
on
you
your
read
space.
you read the post. I don't know you. You don't know me. I don't know him, but I know a bullshitter would never reveal themselves. So I'll bet you $500. $500 that he won't show up. I'm happy to take your money too, Brady. Don't play with me. You can always decline to bet. Let's not bet, man. I don't want to put any bad
You
blood
have too
between us.
much information over me, Ish. I'm gonna lose that
Exactly.
bet.
I have an
Yeah,
edge. I have an edge.
I'm gonna
If
lose that
anybody, if
bet.
anybody wants to make a side bet in the chats that Ed will show up, I'm taking a bet up to $500. Let's do it. Maybe Ed will hate me.
I'm getting a bookie cap for next time so I
I'm
can
giving him
take these
an
bets.
incentive to show up, to defend his honor, to defend why he acts like he owns lunch.com when it's IAUNCH.com. I'm giving him an opportunity to come defend the data and his mathematician mind. I'm giving him an opportunity to come show proof that he sold 28 domain names in 1 week, that he hand registered. I'm giving him an opportunity to make $5,000 if it can show that he had 5,000 names at the time of the bet. That still stands till the end of this live recording. Ed, where are you? Come get your money, man, and get people paid. This way people will like you. They'll be like, I made some money because Ed showed up. It doesn't get better than this.
Giving away free money out here. You're so magnanimous-ish.
Let's make it happen.
You're just a mensch. We're lucky to have you. We're spoiled.
So you
All
guys
right.
tag
So
Ed, tell
enough
him
of
to
the
show
gossip.
up. He got money to pick up. It's not gossip. It's open stuff. He dragged me out there, and I have a platform that I can address it. I even DM'd him. I said to him, it'll be wise to just take that DM down. You're 51 years old. If you have a problem and I have a problem with you, we can have a civil conversation. But what you're doing is you're taking it to a public square, and I'll meet you there. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't.
Ed's in the chat.
Let's go. No, get
Ed's
in the
chat.
stream.
Let's go,
in the
chat.
stream. In the stream. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, Ed, I got you. One sec.
Is it coming on the stream?
Ed's gonna come on.
Yes. Yes.
Here we
Let's
go.
do it. Let's do it. See?
2 men in the arena, hashing it out.
Brady,
I love it.
You could have made $500. See? That's how quickly it is.
Damn it.
You could have made $500.
I should have trusted my gut.
Yeah. I know how to reel people out of their cave. Pull up, man. Where's Ed?
Wow, $500 just like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I just sent Ed the link. I love it. This is the kind of content people come here for.
He has to show his face, though. He has to show his face.
Interesting corollary. We'll see. I mean, his face is on his Twitter profile.
Yes.
Wow.
See, I'll rather, and you mediate. So
I'm going to keep it civil. We're all going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya at the end. It'll be nice and fluffy. He was calling you out on some of his tweets too. So I love it, guys. It's just out here taking blows for you guys. He's putting his body on the line. He's taking the risk. He's putting his reputation on the line.
I told you, man. I'll do anything for us to be.
I love it.
On the winning side. I'll do anything for us to be on the winning side. I don't have a problem with being disliked. I have enough people that like me. I can take a few dislikes. It is what it is. Everyone's not for everybody. I'm definitely not for everybody. But I don't like Ed. I don't like Ed. I don't like people that waste my time. I don't like people that waste other people's time. I don't like people that lie without being able to back up what they say. I don't like people that get messy and say things that aren't true. There was a time I discovered that ChatGPT could roast websites. And I remember that was the time I was engaging Ed about buying my name for $25,000. And I showed him Unstoppable Domains being roasted by ChatGPT. And he said I was talking shit about Unstoppable Domains. Do you know how much heat I've gotten for liking Unstoppable Domains from people that are nastier than Ed, like true DJs? And I took them all on. And I'm talking about Gary Palmer, like real psychopaths that I've been to war with and I'm still standing. Come on. Ed, come on, man. What's up with the Wi-Fi, man? We live in LA. We got 5G. It doesn't take that long to get on a fucking live stream, man. We're waiting on you. But anyways, let's move on and talk about other stuff.
You guys are both in LA? Wow, we could really have an in-person meetup here. We'll have a panel. Actual boxing gloves. Yeah, so while we wait for Ed, we can talk about some other stuff. We saw a big sale this past week.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pull up the tweet of yours here. WeaveRobotics.com.
So what's unique about this was this name sold for, I believe it was 100,000 euros on Sato. They confirmed the sale. They posted it. So it wasn't like someone just said, I sold this name and showed no proof. This was announced by Sato. And I did some little digging and realized when I looked up the Woolies records right? Because it doesn't resolve, or it didn't resolve at the time the sale was announced, that this name was registered on May 21st, 2023, about 2 years ago. So we have a name that was hand registered and
And
sold for 100,000 euros.
well, it got dropped apparently, is what David's saying here, right?
Yeah. David Michael out of Canada added some other perspective, which I think makes it even more interesting. Someone owned the name and dropped it. So technically, if your name gets dropped and no one picks it up at the auction, no one picks it out at the closeout, it's an unregistered name. It goes back into the pool of unregistered names. So it was dropped and re-registered, right? Someone hand registered that name. Now I don't know if they had insights, they had, some sort of insider info that maybe Weave Robotics was going to need the name one day. That could have been a possibility. But it just shows that you know, I think this is what we call the domain of dream. You have a 6-figure sale with a hand registration.
Mm.
Your day will
Yeah,
come, Brady.
how did that trickle through drop catch and no one picked that up?
Well, because the name doesn't look like $100,000 name on the surface level, a hundred
Mm-hmm.
thousand euro name on the surface level. I mean, if you saw that, what would you think it was worth? And it goes back to what we talk about. Domains cannot be lumped into one category. The value of the domain name is the eye of the beholder and the end user,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I would, if you ask me, what is the value of Weave Robotics? I'll tell you, I don't know, maybe $200. If you put it in an appraisal tool, it'll give you a value. If you put it in the next appraisal review, it will give you a different numeric value. If you put it in multiple appraisal tools, it'll give you different values. You know what I
Yeah, it's
mean?
only
So,
registered in 4 extensions.
which probably got picked up after it's sold.
Sure. Yeah, it feels like a low 5-figure name. I mean, it's
Does it?
solid.
Does it look like a 5-figure name? What is a Weave Robotic?
Weave has a nice vibe to it, like
Do you
mesh
think so?
networks, swarm robotic systems. These are all, ideas in the canon, and Weave has a nice ring to it. I think, 2023, we were still early innings of the AI revolution, and so, the trickle down into, oh, robotics names are going to be big,
Right.
hadn't really taken hold yet. So it was still somewhat early.
Well, I don't think that this. I think this is sort of like an isolated situation. I don't think it necessarily means that
I mean,
robotics
all it
related
takes
names.
is like, registering the perfect domain name for a company that just raised a $50 million round,
Correct.
and there's a
Correct.
lot of those in the robotic space right now.
Right.
Um, so you're going to have outsized winners like this. It's
Yeah, and if
just
you
not
look
going
at,
to be, representative of what most people can expect.
it's not typical, correct. If you look at that tweet, if you go back to the top and look at the actual context of the tweet, it was, you know, what is the most you sold a hand registration for and how long did it take? And there were some interesting responses. And I think this indicates that people have had success with hand registrations. I've had amazing success with some hand registrations. It's just not typical. So, you know, tomorrow is $5 come Fridays. And I just urge people who want to take advantage of that to do some research and take some inspiration from this post, because you're going to see people sharing some of their responses. And if you haven't, feel free to go back and look for the post and let us know what is the most you sold a hand registered name for.
Yeah, let us know in the chat, guys. And also tell us the hold time.
So
Yeah,
if
I
you
mean,
scroll up,
people chiming in here.
Jason sold one for 21,500, kept it for 5 years, and he said it was a non.com. I think Rigo said he sold one for 5,000. Took him 4 months. I'm far away from the screen. Let's see. Yeah, someone sold one for $300. I would have kept quiet. No one cares. Respectfully.
Respectfully. I'm gonna say that every time now.
Every time you say something that could
Ish,
be
you're an
offensive,
asshole, respectfully.
respectfully. Yeah, there you go. It's a neutralizer, calms it down. It's a great way for people to absorb a punch. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
It is
I
until it's a meme now, and now it's just insult to injury.
respectfully, I think you're full of shit. Respectfully, right? Respectfully, you know, it's like it allows me to have my freedom of speech, but still be politically correct, so to speak, right?
Yeah, I mean, we want your raw opinions, and that's
I
how
know
we get
not,
it.
but see, not everyone likes their food spicy, so I just always add respectfully, you know?
Yeah.
And you can't tell me that's a bad thing. When you add respectfully, that means don't be too sensitive, right? That's really what it means. Respectfully, you know? I think
I
you're
don't
being a
think,
little soft, respectfully, you know?
yeah, I don't think you can only pave over so much with a respectfully though. If it really was truly disrespectful, then there's no coming back from that.
Well, then that's when you say, listen, you might not like what I'm about to say, but I say this with love and respect.
Yeah.
You're a lunatic. Hey, communication
If you're
skills
a
are
master
important.
wordsmith, you're clearly a marketer in the past life, I can tell.
I still am a marketer, respectfully.
Yeah, I mean, just drumming up all this drama. We're gonna have if I we can Unstoppable can contract you, double if you drum up drama like this every week.
But I'm not looking for drama, but I'm not running from drama. That's just the reality. I don't run from drama, but I don't look for drama. But I also, you know, I poke fun. I like to have fun. I like to be raw in my views, and sometimes people take it the wrong way, and I understand. But one thing I'm not going to do is pretend to be who I'm not. I'm not the super nice guy, but I'm also not a rude person. Ed said that I disrespect people in my spaces. I can see how that can come off, you know. I'll say things like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? But these are said, like my conversations and my tone is like I'm amongst friends. This is how my friends and I talk, right?
Sure.
And so I'm not gonna come on X and act like we're in a corporate boardroom. Like,
Yeah.
that's fake.
You should get to the truth, you know?
Hmm.
The amount of capacity and like words that you spend on waffling and covering exceptions and being politically correct, like it's just all waste when you're trying to,
It's fake.
have the highest bandwidth conversation that you can.
Yeah, it's fake.
So, yeah, I mean, just imagine the rate of idea exchange when you cut out all the BS. We'll reserve judgment on Ed for when he comes on.
He's not coming on.
We'll see. He hasn't responded to me yet. But I mean, do you think there's
I
a
think I
broader
listen,
issue
check this
of
out.
like are
I
there
think
have
I
there other been other fiascos of like people coming into the space and being, inauthentic and fronting? Like is there an epidemic of bad characters in the domain space that we need to look out for?
mean, I'm not so worried about people's character. I'm more worried about what people say and how it could be perceived, right? Ed doesn't have any platform. Ed retweets his own tweets and no one liked the original tweet. No one knows Ed. I'm doing Ed a favor by even talking about him, right? Ed is what we call a glory thief. I have a decent platform. He wants to act like him and I arguing so that he can siphon some attention to himself. And I'll front him that. I'll give him the attention. The truth is, most people in the domain space are opinionated. Most people do not agree on a lot of things, but they keep it respectful. And once in a while, you have people that come in and disrespect the entire industry. That's what this guy has done. Like he came in and said, "Oh, I was at a conference and everyone hates you guys," type of thing, you know? Like he said these things, you know? Domainers are stupid. He says this type of things all the time, right? And then he tries to force his unproven perspectives like he's this overeducated guy that has this superior analysis. And it's offensive. Like it costs a lot of money to get yourself in a position of being a profitable domainer. It takes a lot of time. So for you who doesn't have any experience to come in and start telling people you're doing it wrong, you guys are all dumb, that's going to rub people off the wrong way. Now you can have a view and say, I think this is a better approach. You know what I mean? And then people will be like, well, we can agree to disagree. But to dismiss everyone as stupid, domainers don't know anything, like, these are the type of things that were getting on my nerves that made me call him out.
Gotcha. Well, I'll reserve judgment. I'm keeping an open mind.
Yeah, but overall, people do not like us domainers. They think domainers are squatters. And then they, you know, They,
Have there been other high profile, I don't know, scammers or
I'm
fiascos?
not calling him a scammer. I
Emperor
don't want to
have
defame him.
Yeah, no, again, I'm reserving judgment on Ed. But I'm just,
Right.
on the topic. Have there been other like Emperor has no clothes moments in domaining?
I'm sure they have. I just haven't been paying attention to stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people that do all kind of weird stuff in this space. I just, I don't play cop. You know what I mean? The only reason why this is a little bit close to home is this guy has been on my spaces. This guy acted like he was going to buy a name from me. This guy acted like he bought a name, launch.com, which, as I demonstrated, implies that he bought another name. He bought IAUNCH.com. When you put the I in small caps, it's going to show you L. It looks like a L. This is somewhat deceptive. I I had another gentleman DM me, and it didn't have nice things to say about him, when he saw that I was having a spat with him. And I'm pretty sure Ed cannot prove that he sold one domain name since he started domaining. Matter of fact, I'll take a side bet. If Ed can show me one sale from a marketplace, one sale, I'll give him $1,000 or donate it to a charity of his choice.
All right.
I'm not betting
There
10
you heard it.
Bitcoin. I'm not a
One sale.
lunatic. Yeah. Well, just show
One
us one
sale.
sale. Post it on your Twitter. One sale that you've made from a app, from a marketplace prior to this bet. I
We're
owe
gonna
you
need
a
it live
$1,000.
too.
Yeah.
We can't have any doctored HTML. We need live
And
clicking through the email confirmation.
if he doesn't show that one sale, then he has to donate $1,000 to a charity of my choice.
There we go. All right, you heard it here first, folks. Well, let's move on to some other fun stuff.
Let's go.
What else we got? Oh, well, you want to circle back to this I mean, what's the upshot on Weave Robotics? That there are diamonds in the rough here that you can find.
Well, I think domaining is it's an art, it's an art because you have to, one second. You have to have a little bit of foresight, requires research, and you're literally trying to get in the mind of a potential buyer. Like, I'm taking a bet that someone is going to want this name at my asking price. That's really what domaining is in summary. And you're never going to bat 100%. It's unheard of to bat even 10%, right? But you want to sell enough to be profitable. He showed up.
Hey, what's up, Ed?
What's up, Ed?
Hey, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right.
You're doing
All
it
right,
right.
you're live.
I,
Looks good.
I
We're
only
glad to have you
see.
here, Ed. I
Brady,
mean, these are real men, guys. These
that's right.
guys are coming to the fore. They're hashing it out in person. They're unafraid. I love it. Ed, glad to have you here. What's up? You're a little laggy.
Yeah, my connection's bad right now. I'm trying to find a better spot. Can you hear me okay?
It's all good. Can hear you fine. If it I might cut out your video if it starts lagging too much, but we're
Yeah.
good for now.
Yeah. Hey guys.
So Ed, we've heard Ish's side of the story. Fill us in.
So I heard parts of it. I was on my phone. Apparently I needed to use a computer to make this thing work. I tweeted out like, hey, I'm going to move some domain names to Spaceship because apparently they started a seller's hub. So I'm like, all right, cool. So that's the only thing I tweeted. Then Ish got mad that I was lying or some shit like that. I'm like, all right, cool. And you know what? It's all good. Then he put out this bet. And I'm like, you know what? If you could put out a bet, I'll put out a bet too. And that's it. And you know what? Like for the most part, I just ignored it. It was not a big deal. But this guy went after me. So it's all stupid, but whatever. Now the backstory is this. I don't know Ish. I've never met him before. But on my other account, he started offering me domain names. He went nuts. So I'm like, all right, cool. I sent you a link to all the messages. So you know what? Like I understood this guy. Like he was trying to make his shit work. So that's cool. We got into conversations about launch. So one day, one of my friends online was having a hard time with Product Hunt. And she made the comment, launching your product should feel like a party, like a birthday party. Then I said, right, that's great. Launchparty.com. Anyway, I looked it up. It was $55,000, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Did I lose you guys?
No, I can hear you fine.
So it was $55,000. Anyway, so Ish said that he had a better domain name. So I'm like, all right, cool. That's how we started the conversation, and that was it. Anyway, one of the things that was mentioned here was launch. Yes, Ish told me that he can get launch.com for me. So I'm like, cool, you go do that, right? Then he said, are you serious about it? And he goes, he said something like $1 million or something like that. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Sure. If you can get it for 2, I'll do that too. Sure. I never heard from him again. Then I looked it up myself. So I started tracking it down, launch.com. Come on.
You never heard from me again?
You know what?
Hold
No,
on,
no,
I'm
no.
just going to say something. You said you were
Look,
going to do.
no, you know what?
Okay, go ahead. I'll let you land.
No, you know what?
Sorry for cutting you
No,
off.
you
Go
know
ahead.
what? No,
I'll let you finish.
Let me finish. You know what? I have the receipts. I literally have the receipts. I never heard from you about
No, I'm not disputing.
launch.com
Listen,
ever again. Wait. No, you know what? Let me talk.
I'm not going to
Let me
dispute
talk,
anything
Ish.
you're saying.
No,
I
you know
will.
what? Let
I
me
am.
talk, Ish.
Go ahead,
Let me talk, Ish.
Sure.
Yo. So I went ahead and like, hey, you know what? This guy seems like a cool guy. I heard, like he's eager to make money. And I'm like, I'm down with that. Like, we all got to do it, right? So he told me that he was going to get launch. Never heard back regarding launch. Great. He started pitching me his other domain names. Great. Like, hey, you know what? I didn't
So
want
what
them.
happened?
Hey, you know what? I sent you the DMs. I
Okay.
sent you the DMs, and I sent you the text messages. That's completely unabridged.
Okay. Can I
So
respond,
I'm
Ed?
not shitting you. You know what? Like, let me talk, dude. You've been talking. You know what? Like, I respected you because you know what? You're trying to hustle. I'm like, cool. Every time you put up a link about your brand hacking, I reposted that shit. I told people about it. I told people about it on my
Thank you.
other accounts.
Sure.
But then
So
one day
what's
you
the
got
claim here,
mad.
guys? That
I'm far
Ish
from
did
mad.
not
That's the thing.
follow through with finding a lead for launch.com,
No,
or that Ed
and-
wasn't serious to begin with about it.
I don't
What's
get the point.
Well,
Like, I didn't follow up with a
Ish,
potential
Ish,
$2 million.
wait, Ish, you've been talking. Let me talk. Let me talk. You've been talking, so let me talk. There was no claim.
Ed, can you show your face? It's kind of weird.
realized-
It's kind of weird seeing your hairline. Can
I'm
you show
here.
your
settle
face?
down, guys. Come on. Ish, let
I'm
Yeah,
let
there
Ed
you go.
have
I'm
his
right
piece.
here.
Yeah, go ahead and speak. I'm just telling you we can't see you. It's not just for me, it's for the content. We can't see you. Can you just show your face? You're kind of like showing your... Yeah, there you go. That would be better. Yeah, just adjust the screen. Go ahead.
I think he's having service issues. So,
Well,
anyways,
got it.
Ed, explain the core grievance, and then let's move on from this part and let's talk about the actual start of the argument, which is how many domains you have and your history as a domainer.
So there is no beef. Just one day or 2 days ago, he got mad at me, and then he said, bet. And I'm like, all right, cool, let's double down. I know I have the numbers for it. So there's a few questions dude, let me talk. Can you let me talk?
You're good. Go ahead.
So
Of course. Go ahead.
the
I'm
domain
listening.
name thing, sure. So I've been at this now since September 2024. Actually, I was going to buy stuff from Ish, as I noted on those tweets. But you know what? I just couldn't trust him. So you know what? I just maintained the relationship. I kept it cordial. And I started acquiring from different people. So my background is in web hosting. I've sold my first company as a web hosting company. So I know how I know how domains work. So what I did is I just reached out to my old friends in the community, and I bought their portfolios. That's it. There's no mystery to it. So every time under Tukau's account, when it would expire, we would just renew it, and that was it. There's no mystery to it. That's it. There's more than 10,000 domain names, but those are the ones that I know I have renewed already, that I can now sell because they're not owned by anybody anymore. That's it. I will have more. And it's that simple. Now, I'm willing to prove that shit. You know why? Because those 10,000 domain names, yes, my thesis is simple. based on what I've analyzed here, is that these domain names will sell at, like, for 10,000 domains, 10% of them will sell at that price point. That's my thesis. And I'm not asking anybody else to do it. I'm gonna test it out with my money. I'm gonna test it out with my portfolio, and that's it. I don't understand what the grievance is. Quite frankly, calling me a liar. That was the problem that I had. I have no problem. I don't even interact with Ish really. That's it.
Yeah.
Can I respond now? So
And
I don't.
and to set the record straight here, so Ish offered a 5K bet on Ed doesn't have 5K names. Ed says he has 10,000 names. Ed ups the ante to betting each portfolio against one another.
That wasn't what I wanted to bet. I
For
bet
pink slips,
$5,000. Yeah,
which
well,
it's obviously
That's right.
it
no
wasn't.
one's going to take that bet.
So let me
But
respond.
I'm just providing commentary. You know,
Yeah, leave it up.
Ed has put money on the line here.
So let me
I don't
respond.
know. It sounds genuine enough to me.
Okay, so let me respond. I appreciate the neutrality. Shout out to Ed for showing up, man. Ed, listen.
Yeah, great for you to be here.
It means a lot. It means a lot to us that you
It's
showed
fun.
up.
It's good fun.
I think that's one thing about real men. They face the fire. So you win a cool point with me for showing up, because I was betting against you showing up, so I would have lost money. But either way, Brady didn't take that
Should have
bet.
took that fucking bet.
Yeah, I would have lost $500.
Should have bet on you, Ed.
But I have to do what I have to do to get Ed here, and I'm glad he's here. So Ed, true, we've never met. I'm going to remind you of some things, and I don't care what screenshots you have. I met Ed because Ed was putting out a post about how he was about to acquire lunchparty.com. And I forgot the name, so I'm glad it reminded me. Like I said earlier, my brother and I own lunchcommunity.com. So I tried to get his attention. I got his attention, and him and I were going back and forth about which of the names it was going to acquire, whether it was Lunch Community or Lunch Party. He decided it didn't want Lunch Community. Of course, I wasn't happy I didn't make the sale, but I'm mature enough to handle rejection. That's part of outbounding. I don't take any. He says I was trying to sell him names. This is what I do for a living, and I'm really good at it. So you're right. I was trying to sell you a name. And if that name didn't work, I'll probably pitch you another one. And I'm going to do that after I get off this call. So there's nothing to be ashamed of for trying to sell you something. Life is about selling. I'd rather be selling than buying any day. And then the conversation led to, hey, listen, the killer category name in what you describe that you're trying to do is lunch.com. And I said I could probably reach out to the buyer. How much is your budget for it? And I was like, I wouldn't even want to be involved unless you can commit to at least $1 million, right? And he goes, I'll do $2 million like it just verified. I was like, oh, even better, we have more ammunition. I reached out, I found out that Verizon had the name, right? And then Ed said, I'll take care of it myself. So when you said you never heard back from me, I'm not going to keep calling you if
I want to clarify
at this
something.
point you've sort of like wasted my time on 2 names.
No.
Right?
You know what?
And then remember you put out a tweet that you were trying to, you added GoDaddy. You said you were trying to make a credit card purchase for $55,000 for lunchparty.com, and it wasn't going through. So I was like, okay, this guy seems pretty serious. He settled on a name. I respect that. I'm going to keep in touch with him and hopefully he does well, right? And I don't have a problem with you making a decision. It happens every day. And I noticed you never bought Lunch Party, and then you bought IAUNCH.com and put out a post that implies you own lunch.com. No, do I hate you for it? No, but I don't trust you for it, because this is what you did, right? And then to add to
Any
that,
thoughts on that? Can we?
yeah,
can
go
we
ahead. Let him
pause?
address that. Yeah, let him address that.
You
Did you
know
do
what?
that?
Number
Yes or
one.
no?
Yes. So this was the joke that was going on
Ed,
at
you're on
the. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
We can't hear you.
Hello. But how do I unmute?
Can't hear him. Anyways, I'll keep speaking. Whenever it comes in, I'll respectfully let him speak. You're on mute, Ed.
No, here he is.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So where were we? Launch. Okay, so what was the trend that was happening at that time was people were
And
registering calendar, but instead of the L, it's an I. And then they would post it as, I've just bought calendar.com. And everybody thought it was funny. This was like the running joke in the indie hacker space. So I registered lunch, LUNCH, but instead of an L, it's an I. If you type in IUNCH.com, it'll redirect to that site. But I think what we want to talk about is the $10 million domain name that is launch.com. I think that's what we really wanted to talk about, right?
what do you mean that's what we wanted to talk about? I'm confused. I'm asserting that you launched IAUNCH.com, and when you type that in a browser, leads to something implying that you own launch.com.
Yes, that was the joke. That was
but it's not. But it's not
No,
to me.
if you look
okay,
at if you look
fair
at
enough.
where it redirects to, that was the joke. That's what everybody was laughing about.
There
If
was
you
no
look-
one laughing about it.
That's where it's type in IUNCH.com. It would redirect.
It's IAUNCH.com.
No, yes, that also redirects to the same Twitter profile, dude. It goes to the same thing. That was the big joke.
Okay. Do you see where it says right there, and it has a launch logo and launch.com? Looking for beta testers must have launched. Does that look like a joke?
Dude, literally. Look, launch. That was the joke that we were playing with.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give you the benefit of doubt.
Jesus Christ, man.
I'll give you I'm not here to judge you. I just want to ask you, from someone who was having backdoor conversations with you about acquiring the real launch.com, how do you think that came across? How do you think I perceived that?
No. So this one was
do you think I'll take you as a serious person?
This was way after. Look at the date of the tweets.
That's my point.
This was way after we were talking.
So let me ask you.
After. You know what?
Exactly. Ed, let me ask you a simple question. I'll let you speak.
Whatever, dude.
If you and I were having a conversation, like you said, about you acquiring a multi-million-dollar name, launch.com.
It's $10 million.
And then no,
it's
whatever.
It's $10 million. The domain name is number one. It's $10 million.
Sure. Irrelevant. You and I had conversations about you buying.
Sure.
We had conversations about you buying launch.com. And nothing happened. And then I look at my tweet feed one day. I never got back to you, or you said you would handle it.
No, launch party, I told you that I was going to handle it. Launch.com, you told me you were going to handle it. I never heard back from you regarding launch.com.
We had
so
a
what
phone
I
call.
did is I made some phone calls. I was the one that found out that it was from, yes, dude, I know it's worth $10 million. You know why? Because that's what I'm negotiating for it right now.
Okay.
You know, my only blocker is right now, there's another guy, an acquaintance of mine, that also wants it. That's it.
Cool story. Let's move on from launch.com. This is a distraction.
So let's sit the facts on the ground and let's move on from this.
So let me go back to the next phase.
Ed has a sizable portfolio, it sounds like. Ed's a real domainer.
Wait, you know what?
Even if he is new to the space.
It's probably
you know what?
Trash.
It is. That's my point. It is trash. That's why I'm selling it for $199 to $299.
Okay,
that was the point.
Ed,
you know what I'm going to do?
Mm-hmm.
How do you want me to authenticate it? I will authenticate it via text. I can update all the text files, or rather the TXT file on the DNS, or I could do a CNAME. You tell me, and I'll make it happen.
Listen, this is the deal.
Dude, it's simple.
Let me
I'm down. Let's go do it.
Ed, listen, this was the deal. You put up a post. Listen, let me speak.
I'm down. Let's go right now. I'll do it.
Let me speak. Listen to me, please. Control your ego and just hear me out. Okay?
Dude,
control
you're the
your ego.
Respectfully, you're the one that came after me.
Ease up.
Okay.
So, let's go.
Ed, listen. This was what I said. You put up a post that said you were going to list 5,000 names on named spaceship. Right? Yes?
Nah.
You tweeted that. And I said, you don't have 5,000 names.
That's right, because I have more.
And then you said, and I said, I will bet you $5,000 right now.
I have more.
So listen, let me ask you a question. If you have $5,000, 5,000 names at the time of the bet, why didn't you just say, let's do it? You know what you did? You said, I have 10,000. I said, you don't. Let's bet. That's an easy 5,000 for you. Does that sound like someone was mad or someone offering you money? Well, what made you think that I was mad? Did I curse at you? Did I insult you? I said, you don't have 5,000 names. I'll bet you 5,000 on that right now.
Yeah, why not take the money, Ed?
Why not take the money? Why didn't you take the money back then?
You know
what made you feel? What made you
Ish
feel
isn't
that I
gonna
was
give
mad?
you his portfolio.
I'm not giving you my
right?
portfolio.
So why not keep
I
it
believe
in a
I have a
sensible
$20
betting
million
range?
portfolio, and I have a
Yeah.
right to believe it's $20 million because I'm not saying I can sell it for $20 million, right?
You know
Let's hear
what?
from Ed. Let's hear from Ed.
You're the one that was calling me out, so I also have the right to double down. That's how betting works. That's
It didn't
literally
look.
how.
It didn't. It
Oh
didn't
my
look like.
God.
Okay, but
You know what?
okay, fine.
So let's
go.
do it.
We're gonna get to the bottom of this. Listen,
We
I'm
will.
glad that. I just want to clarify that at no point, even
You are
till
such
now,
a joke.
I'm not mad. I'm not
You
mad
are-
at all.
I'm
That's
not
why I always
either.
acted. Okay, cool. So this is what I'm saying, Ed.
You know
I
what?
think
We can settle this right now. You know what? 5,000 domain names. Where do
Bring up your two cows. Bring up your two cows right now.
No, what? Why don't? Well, they're in different accounts.
Oh God!
They're spread out in different
I
accounts.
don't want. That doesn't.
Well,
That's
so
not gonna
that's
work
why
for
you.
me. Look, I can bet you that I have 3,000 names, and I'll show it to you
My
right
God.
now. I'll show you a screenshot with 3,000 names. It's not that hard.
Look, they're all
Anyways.
from different web hosting companies.
Oh yeah, sure. Ed, listen,
Whatever, dude.
we'll leave it alone.
All right, guys.
You should-
Let's wrap this up. Bottom line is,
No,
come
I
on.
have one more.
If you're
I have
gonna
one
bet,
more.
you gotta bet. You
I
guys
have one
both
more.
up the ante too much. We didn't actually see the bet happen.
Yeah, because Ed didn't take the opportunity to show 5,000 names.
Sure.
Instead, he felt that Ish was angry and he quote unquote doubled down. And Ish, there's nothing in this tone that shows any anger. Like, how do you infer that I was angry by offering you $5,000 to prove me wrong? That to me, that's like a generous offer. If someone
Should've
said,
taken that money, Ed.
if someone
Should've
said,
taken that money.
I'll bet you $3,000
This is
Ish,
a
you
joke.
don't have. Of course it
All
is.
right.
If someone bet me and said, Ish, I'll bet you $3,000 you don't have 3,000 domains, I would
Shit,
gladly take that
Sure.
bet, and I'll prove them wrong and take their 3,000.
This is
And
a
I'll
joke.
thank them. I'll be like, this is so cool of you. You just gave me free money. You instead, this is what you did. This is what you did. You went into this dick measuring contest about, I'll bet you my portfolio for yours. And
Which
I
we
just
love, by
ignored
the
it.
way.
I ignored that because that wasn't the bet. I didn't know you were doubling down. I have a right to decline the double down. But Ed,
All
let me
right,
ask you a
guys.
question.
Play
let me
poker,
ask
man. Play poker.
I
You
don't
know
play
what?
poker. I play roulette.
I have
Straight
all the
35x or
cards.
nothing.
I know the cards that I
You
have.
don't have
and
the cards. No, you don't. You don't have the cards.
Hey, that's why you gotta
Respectfully,
ante up.
you have no cards. You're not a card player. Let me ask you a question, Ed. Do you remember when you came on my spaces and you said you sold 28 domains and everybody, how do you think people perceive that? Did they believe you?
I don't
You're
care.
a smart guy.
I don't
But
care.
what do you think? I know you don't care,
I
but
don't
what
care.
do you think they believed you?
I don't care. I don't know.
Okay, I know you. I don't think they believed you. They
Okay,
made
All
they
that's
right,
told
Ed,
fine.
we want to see receipts. We want to see receipts of those sales
Receipts,
and
sure.
your
Yeah.
10,000 domains.
Let's
yeah,
do it.
and maybe that'll.
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
that'll-
How much? Let's
I
do
already
it.
bet you 5,000. You don't have
Nah,
5,000.
Nah, dude. Let's go. Let's do it.
God.
I know you're gonna. Number one, I know you're gonna welch on that bet. Number one, I know you're gonna welch on that bet. As a matter of fact, you will. I know you will. You're that guy.
Dude,
I called it out.
which one of your friends gave you their login details between now and then?
5,000 or get that $5,000, Ed.
I know. Like the bet was, I said I will bet you right now. Do you
All right,
understand the
joke, dude? Whatever.
okay. Well, you
All right,
sold
guys.
28. You sold 28 domain names in 1 week by outbounding that you hand registered. You're buying lunch.com, but right now you have iaunch.com. You said GoDaddy couldn't take your 55,000 for lunch party. You come up with this data with horrible analysis about you think you're going to sell 10% of 10,000 names for $199 in the next year. And I'm a joke.
All right. Well, don't follow me. You're the one that's following me. You want to block me? Block me.
No, I'm not gonna block you. I'm not gonna block
All
you.
right, all right, all
Listen,
right.
Ed, this is
Let's
the
wrap
thing.
this up.
No, we're gonna leave with
You're
this
a
with the
joke. This is
respectful.
a joke.
Your jokes to me too. That's cool. And I'm glad you showed up. I appreciate it. You can hang out. So let's get some perspectives. And I'm glad that we ironed this out. You had a bet. You didn't take it. I'm not betting in my portfolio. There's something called risk management, right? Because for all I know, you could
God.
be
My
Bill Gates'
God.
son-in-law or some shit and pull up, you know?
My
Like you said, I
God.
don't know you, but I
My
know for a
God.
fact.
It is a
I know for a
joke.
fact. Can I make another bet?
Nobody does business this way. Oh my God.
No,
This is a
this is not
joke.
business.
This
Can I
is a
bet you?
joke.
Can I make you a bet
Ed, we
right
want
now?
those receipts, whether it's now or
Yeah, we need
offline. All
receipts.
right. All right, let's put a wrap. Let's put a bow on this. You know, it was fun. Ed, I want to hear more about the strategy for selling these wholesale domains. Let's talk about this portfolio of 10,000 names, how you acquired them, what's in them, and let's talk about your pricing strategy. And let's leave the beef behind us and just talk
No, there's no beef.
objectively about the strategy
There's no
from
beef.
now on.
Ed, we're good, man. I'm not beefing with
Ed,
you.
yeah, no, I love that you guys came on. We hashed it out. This is what Twitter's for. It's for making real life friends and actually engaging with people. So, Ed, tell us about this portfolio and what your strategy is with it.
Right now?
Yeah.
So it's just based on the data that I've seen. It's based on my experience. It looks like that there's a good amount of people that's buying these domain names for $100 to $200, $300. That's what it looks like, and I'm willing to test it out and see if it happens or not. It's pretty much that simple. The odds looks like it's in my favor, and it's literally
So
that
let's
simple.
look at this data. So this was an analysis of 30,000 domains sold in the past 90 days on GoDaddy, right? And you
No,
basically
not
have
on GoDaddy overall. And he said that most of them were sold on GoDaddy, right?
Oh, right. So yeah, 80% were sold on GoDaddy. And then you show the breakdown on pricing of those domains. And then you can't see it in the chart here, but there were some 200 were 10K or higher, 500 were 5 to 10K, and 700 were 3K to 5K.
Right.
So anyway, what you're basically showing is obviously there's higher volume of sales
Yeah.
with lower pricing.
Yeah.
So you're seeing, where are you getting your 10% sell through at? You're seeing some 10,000, 1/3 of the domains that were sold were between 100 and 200.
Yeah. Yeah. So the idea is pretty simple. All domain names are hand registered, right? They pretty much are. I mean, not all of them, but most of them. I would say 99.999%. If you have a domain name portfolio that was registered by an actual human person that was actually doing something with it, it has some built-in intrinsic value. There's a good odds that that person might want to buy it back. They might have forgotten about it. I know it happens to me a lot. I know it happens to me more frequently than I'd like to admit. So that's literally just as simplest as possible. So number one, a domain name, like a non-registered name. Somebody walks into a computer, types it in, GoDaddy registers it for $20. For that moment in time, that's $20. That domain name has sold 100% for $20. Now, my theory is that in the next 2 to 3 years, these older domain names will probably sell to another person at a higher price. And it's as simple as that, and I'm willing to test it out.
I appreciate the scientific approach, but this is the issue that I have with this data. When you're looking at this 30,000 domains that were sold in the last 30 days, I'm assuming you got this data from NameBio. Is that correct?
No, I got it
Okay.
from many places.
Can you cite the sources?
I trolled the internet.
I think it's important that you share the sources because you're making conclusions and putting them in the. Please, I'm no, like the beef thing is over. We're just having a logical conversation, so let's
Sure.
not.
I mean, what's his incentive to lie about all
No,
this
I'm not
data?
saying, and
He's got the spreadsheets here.
I'm not saying that he's lying either. But to say that you got the information from the internet is inadequate. He's a mathematician, and in any type of data that you're putting out to the public, it's only best practice to show the source. So I
It's
assume,
fair.
No,
right?
there's many different places that I got it from.
Yeah, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
asking. Can you share
Yeah.
some of these
Sure.
sources?
Name bio, name maxi,
Okay.
the usual suspects.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
so
So what?
so it's a total of 100,000 names. So what I did is I sampled them in
Mhm.
3 batches, and the numbers remain conclusive, or rather I should say, they remain the same. There's no meaningful variances between splitting in them up in 10,000 blocks, 30,000 blocks with these, that, or the other. It didn't matter. One of the things you'll notice in those domain names, a lot of the domain names that are being bought for $100,000 or $200 are spammers. I think there's a market for that.
Yeah.
That the spammers are just going to buy them. I think there's a market for it.
So there's also a wholesale market. Every day 100,000 names expire. So
Sure,
the
sure,
point is, this is a small sample compared to the wide
sure.
volume of domains out there. So I'm just sharing these perspectives with you. Secondly, a lot of these reported sales,
Wait. So from a mathematics perspective,
it's a sample.
it's a great number. We're talking about
Fair.
we're accuracy here.
Yeah, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a mathematician. You are. That's what you said. So I'll give you the benefit of doubt. But this is the issue with this type of data. When you look at a sample like this, you can't tell which of these sales were to an end user and which were to an investor. So the price that I will pay for a domain is considered wholesale because I'm going to resell it. And the price that an end user will pay for, we spoke about Weave Robotics. Someone hand registered that in 2023. Let's say they paid $10 and it sold for
Sure,
100,000 euros.
sure.
So it falls in two different ranges there based off the intent of use, right? So the data will never show you that. And this is where this is my pushback on this data and why I say it's a respectfully not a good analysis, right?
Well, I mean, what's the key conclusion you're drawing from this, Ed? Is that you can price your domains
As
at $100 to
commodities.
$200
Yeah, it
and
doesn't
get a
matter.
sell-through rate of
Yeah,
10%?
yeah.
Is that the core conclusion here?
So the core conclusion is that 10% of them will for sure sell at 199 to 299, something like that. Some of them will probably sell higher. The question is which one. And the goal and the job here is nobody can look at 10,000 domain names. Nobody can reasonably properly price them. So why go through all that trouble? I don't mind passing up like a fantastic name like Weave Robotics or whatever that's in there. I don't mind because you know what? I'm gonna make my money back on just the sell through of all of these. I'm gonna win by just the raw numbers.
Sure.
But Ed,
Well,
it's
so to sum this up, I mean, 30% of these domains selling in between $100 and $200.
Mm.
Now you have sample bias because you're looking at only
Yep.
domains that have sold. There's like survivorship bias here, and you're comparing that to your portfolio. Presumably, a lot of those names are not sale worthy, and so you should adjust that 30% down. 10% may be generous. A
and
revision down from 30% sell-through rate. I mean, they're totally different things, sell-through rate and this like distribution that we're seeing.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
No, you can't just produce demand for a domain just by
that's the
pricing it
point.
down.
Yeah, that's the
That has
point.
to be a quality domain. It's
So
not like a
now,
commodity where the demand is
This price
elastic based on the
elasticity,
price.
exactly. Domains are one of ones.
so now, since I own these domain names and I know where they came from, presumably I can email everyone
Hmm.
that they once belonged to before and ask them, "Hey, I just acquired this. Do you still want it or not?" And it's that simple. I increased my odds.
Well,
I
there's
already have all
certain.
their contact infos.
So this is the thing, right? And I'll add this. I think it's a theory.
Sure, sure,
And
sure,
if I'm a betting man, I'll say that it's unlikely to be
sure,
favorable. But
sure.
I
Which he is.
respect the risk taken. But I'll say this: when you put out information like this, it's important to share the sources, and I'm glad that you shared some of them. But there's so much behind every domain name. How long the person kept it in their account? Did they sell this name at a loss? Because remember, domains are not a fixed cost; they're subscription. Every time you buy a name, there's a renewal fee, and every domain name, depending on what registrar you're using, has a variable renewal cost. You see what I'm saying? There are also other factors, right? When people sell these names, depending on where they sell them, they could pay as much as 30% in commission fees, which eats into that profit. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, looking at them from a bird's eye view is not telling you it's not painting an accurate picture. And that's why this is dangerous, because you have to look at your portfolio one name at a time.
So this is where I'm at right now in the process. Now, the next thing, number one, I have a pretty good idea of my actual sell-through rate, and it's very encouraging. Right now, the next thing I'm testing is to see which marketplaces perform better. If I can put them up on GoDaddy
Mm.
or Spaceship or wherever. Now that's the next thing I'm testing. It's as simple as that. I mean, I don't know what all the answers are. What right now, I have a hypothesis based on the data that I've seen. I might be wrong, but I'm not asking anybody to risk anybody else's money. This is what I found out. I could be wrong. I'm okay with that.
Well, I mean, I think the data is very corrupt, first of all, because, it's an assertion. If there's no sources where someone else can vet it, it's an assertion, right? You could have made up this data. No, respectfully, I'm not saying you did, but this is the truth. If I see something on the internet, doesn't mean that it's true.
Let's quit on that dead horse.
Yeah, but
I don't think he has
I,
an incentive to falsify this data
well, he might be
for a
quoting.
for a post here.
He might be quoting. It might not be doing that intentionally. Because this is what I'm saying. Like, he's looking at sales and he doesn't understand which is a wholesale, which is a closeout, which is to an end user. I'll bet you that the ones that are in the higher price point are more likely end user acquisitions versus a domain investor building on a portfolio, right? So this doesn't tell anything about profitability. And then when to assume that you're going to have a 10% sell through rate in the domaining world is like saying, I'm going to go when the Lakers are playing, put on a Laker jersey, and I'm going to break the NBA scoring record.
Well, but the sell-through rates you normally hear are retail pricing. Like, you can have incredibly high sell-through rates in a wholesale
Scenario.
flipping
Yeah, that's a good point.
business, right?
That's a good point.
So, I mean, Ed, do you talk to other wholesale domainers who like sell wholesale?
No,
Do you have a sense for other types of strategies in this school?
no, I don't.
Let's listen to what
Gotcha.
people have to say about this. I know we have some chats on this. Let's get some feedback on other people's thoughts on. We'll call it Ed's theory. And Ed, listen, man to man, Ed, listen to me, bro. Ed, let's dead all the bullshit. I would not come at you again. I need us to keep things positive. Do me a favor, just delete that tweet, like I told you. This is a better way to air things out, right? Versus going back and forth on Twitter. So I won't say anything bad about you. We have a right to disagree. I don't have anything against you, man. I wish you all the best. I think you're a cool guy. I just think you exaggerate things a bit, but that's my opinion about you. It's not, I've never said you're a bad person. It is what it is. And I stand corrected. All right. So it's love, peace, and good vibes. You're my neighbor in LA, man. So let's go Lakers. Lakers in 5.
Yeah. Any other, what else is capturing your attention lately, Ed? I mean, can you tell us a bit about some of your domaining hustle strategies, what you're seeing in the markets lately?
So to me, my bet is on startups, founders, entrepreneurs. I think that it's going to be easier to sell them like a $1,000 domain name or a $3,000 domain name. I think that it's about creating a marketplace specifically for those people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they have more domain name needs than they realize. For example, a lot of them now are building their own link networks that host, let's say, other community sites or whatever, maybe for their documentation. A lot of them are even getting really, really tricky when they'll have like 100, 200 domain names that cross-link each other to prop up their DRs so that they can do a mass redirect and create honeypots so that their top of funnel works better. So that's what I'm seeing. There's a lot of growth hacks that's happening that uses those gray patterns. I don't want to call them dark patterns, but those are definitely gray patterns that they're using. So that's what my bet is going to be in the future. And of course, the next thing is, of course, you got to have cool names and good names. And I think an instinct for the trending names is one of the things that I care about in branding names. I'm not really seeing a lot of people like for example, A16Z or Y Combinator is not going to say like, yeah, you know what? You have a cool startup that focuses on robots. Your domain name and your company name is not going to be like Robots Inc. It's going to be something kind of memorable. It'll be something brandable. So that's what I'm seeing. One of the things that recently happened is this guy. He does, I think it's called Interview Coder or something. It's a Chrome extension that allows you to cheat your interview questionnaires. So that if you're doing like an on-screen, a Zoom job interview, that Chrome extension will help you cheat it by giving you the answers because it's listening to it. His domain name was like interviewcoder.com or something like that. At first it was like interviewcoder.io. Then he was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go get the interviewcoder.com, and it cost him, I don't know, $5,000 or something like that. And he was sore about it. He got funding. They immediately pivoted to a different name that's brandable. And I see that often. If you look at right now at the Y Combinator batches, A16 batches. So for example, A16 is doing speed run now. I guarantee you that they're going to have one silly domain name in the beginning, but they're immediately going to pivot to something brandable. I don't think it's going to be an exact match thing. It'll be something like, I don't know, quirky, spelled
So
weird or
you
something.
think brandables are just the future? You know, it's just aesthetically the direction people are going versus exact match. Can we double click on, you know, selling into the, you know, scammers doing this mass backlinking? So basically you're betting that that's just going to be a stronger marketing and sales tactic going forward, and you want to sell into those people. I mean, how do you ensure that you're, you know, positioning yourselves to sell to those people? Obviously, like low price domains, because the value of each of those domains is quite low. Are you looking for like domain authority on domains that you're picking up? Are there specific sectors that you see this behavior more prevalent in? Like tell us how you zero in and capitalize on that trend.
So in terms of the dark pattern, or let's call it the gray pattern of building backlink networks, what I'm seeing is things that are high value. Of course, definitely tech, finance, that happens a lot. Of course, if you troll any of the SEO places, they're going to talk about it a lot. So the general tactic works like this. So I'll have, let's say, 50 domain names. I will cross-link them together. I will now get one domain name to be published with a higher DR. That backlink juice will slowly travel to the rest of them. Not always, but there's a good chance it will. So you just do that over and over and over again. Now, spammers will look for those domain names. Then they will buy your domain name. So I amp up the DRs for a lot of these domain names first before I put them on sale.
I see. So you want to juice the backlink stats of your own domains,
Yeah,
not
that's
sell
what.
to people that are doing this. I see.
Well, I mean, I'm doing it to sell it to them because they're gonna want to buy something with a good DR,
Right.
better than zero, of course.
I mean, do the like backlink analysis tools not identify this kind of gamification?
No,
No.
as
So
long as you
it's really hard. It's really hard to tell authentic backlink authority from fraudulent stuff.
yeah, you see it pretty often. Like Ahref, I think does an okay job, but it's for the most part, it sucks. I can pretty much build my own backlink network with maybe 20 domain names, and it wouldn't get dinged. I could probably rank for reasonable 3-word searches with any random name. It doesn't have to be an exact match domain name. So it works pretty okay. Because all you really need to do is one or two of them to hit well, and that link juice will just travel back down the line. And since you're in a loop, it doesn't go outside, you're going to be good. As long as, of course, you're not transferring out link juice to anywhere else outside of your network. That's, of course, like the SEO thing to do, right?
And I mean, what's the ROI on this? You know, like, does someone need to be in the, you know, have expertise like you do to be able to spin something like this up? And I mean, what are the results that you're seeing
So it
in terms of sell-through rate and pricing of your names?
so if I were so I would work this backwards. So if I were consulting a founder that's got a startup, I would tell him like, hey, go buy 5, 10, 20 random domain names. We'll go to Fiverr. We'll build them out. They'll build them out. We'll go buy backlinks from the directories and all the places where you could buy the backlinks from. Then we're gonna juice them up. That's where I would start as a founder. Your question is, it's like, who do I sell the domain names to after I've done that? Is that what your question is?
No, I was on the presumption you were building these networks for your own names to sell them.
Well, yes, yeah. I mean, like basically,
And whether
that's what
that's
I
a
do.
higher ROI strategy.
I don't know if it's a higher ROI. I think time will tell. Just because it's so cheap to make them. You know what I mean? It's really, really easy and cheap to make them. And of course, you know, you don't do it for all of them. Most of them should have, number one, a landing page. They should have some about page. They should have something on it. Those are pretty easily done, right? Just they're so cheap to do. Now to do it at a scale of 100,000 your domain names, I'm not sure. But so far, with, you know, for a few thousand names, it's okay. It's not that expensive to do. And the ROI, I'm not sure the exact number, but I know it helps with my sell-through rate.
Okay. That would
I
be
don't,
interesting data to see for sure.
yeah.
These are custom tools that you built to build these networks?
Oh, I mean, when I say it's custom, as in like it's a VPS, you got to learn some Python. Pretty much that's it. If you run Plesk, and most VPSs will probably rather run cPanel or Plesk. What that allows you to do is basically have an image of the distribution you want. So for example, WordPress is an easy one, right? So all you do is you create an image of the WordPress that lives in Plesk, and all you do is every time you enter in a new domain name, it'll automatically launch it for you. And all you got to do is hire someone overseas to look at it and do a quick check on, does it look too spammy or not, right? Run it through Ahref, Ahref, and go from there.
Interesting.
But it's pretty easy to do. I would start with Ionos, for example. I really like them. They're really cheap. I can light up a bunch of VPSs. They come with a free Plesk software license, and it's like $50 per VPS. I host maybe 100 domains per VPS. Yeah, so it works pretty okay. Again, I don't think if the question really is going towards, will this increase the domain name value from like $200 to $1,000, I don't think it will. And that's not my goal. My goal is to increase its ability to be sold through at $299 or $199.
Sure.
That's the goal. That's the goal I'm trying to go for, rather than trying to sell them for higher.
And
I
I'll
mean, if
add this.
anything, you're getting it surfaced. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
do some marketplaces have like backlink and domain authority baked into the search results?
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
custom marketplaces
Yeah.
that allow you to
Yeah.
sell. What Ed is describing are now a different category of domains, which are
Yeah.
SEO domains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
And so at least you're
marketplaces.
getting surfaced in those tools
Yeah,
by padding your numbers. Yeah.
yeah, they're specific
There's still
marketplaces.
wholesale, like low margin domains. That's not going to change, but you're getting them, you know, pop through the ranks to get them more visible.
Yeah, the context matters because when you have domains with, like you said, more domain authority and backlinks, they're definitely better than domains with zero DA score. So it sounds pretty innovative, man. It sounds like, it's all about systems and processes, and it sounds like you have a process in place that you implementing and I,
Yeah, we're keen to see the results as they come out and see some more data.
Yeah. Well, you know, the big problem I foresee is that I don't know if it scales. I'm not sure if I can.
I would urge you to build your own marketplace so you have even more added visibility, right? So if people know that these domains are, you know, sort of like they have some backlink juice to them, and this is what the SA or the HHref analysis is, then they're more attractive. And I can see that significantly spiking the STR. But I don't know if the STR is going to be double digits. It might be higher. Who knows? It might be higher than 10%. It might be lower. But I think it's an experiment worth taking. And I wish you the best with it, man.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts? Anything else interesting you in the space recently, Ed? Or
No,
things you're working on?
I'm. This is LA. The Hollywood sign is over there. It's an overcast right now. Are you in LA? I know
I'm
Ish is in LA, right?
yeah, I'm in LA,
I'm
correct.
not, no.
Yeah. So this is my rooftop. Anyway, that was the thing that I worked on right now.
That looks like Koreatown.
Miracle Mile.
Miracle Mile, yeah, Koreatown, same shit.
Nice. Well, Ed, I'm glad we had you on. I appreciate you coming and chatting and you guys
No,
bearing
no,
the hatchet.
no, we're burying the hatchet, and I mean that generally. Just I want Ed to prove me wrong with this results, and I'm rooting for him because, you know, and this is the beautiful thing about having dialogue. You get to get more insights into people's thought process. You know, he said he was joking about the lunch versus I. You know, I didn't know that. I'm just coming from a background of we were talking about the real name, right? So this is dialogue, and it's very healthy. We're men, you know, we squash the beef, and we don't have to like each other. I don't dislike you though. You're more than welcome to join us anytime. Next month, I have a conference in Vegas, Domain Expo. Ed, would love to have you there. Maybe you can share more insights into what you're doing or find people that are looking to buy some of these type of names, you know, domainexpo.com. I know Brady is committed to speak. We're going to announce more speakers. We're going to be ramping up the promo for that. I was at an event yesterday here in Los Angeles. It was hosted by D3. They put together a nice event, a lot of networking, met a bunch of registrars, investors. I met the owner of Bone.com, pleasant lady. And these people are very curious about how the blockchain will allow them to add liquidity to their domains. And I know you guys at Unstoppable on a similar mission, maybe with a different approach. But it was just exciting to see people curious about that direction of domain names, like the blockchain utility, the new era of domain name utility. Do you have anything to add on that and what we can expect this year?
Yeah, we like to see other people building in the space. It sounds like D3 is building towards a similar roadmap that we've been fleshing out for the past year and a half or so. And so it's good to see more interest in some of the same features that we're already building out, bringing domain names on chain. And yeah, so
Do
we
you guys
invite.
also call it domain fi, or do you have a different way you categorize our whole intersection?
I know Matt has used the term domain fi in the past.
So are we all calling it domain fi?
Yes, you guys can go out and register all your domain fi domains and squat on them
I have a domain
and rub
fi
it in
hat
my
on.
face and rub it in my face when you sell them years later. And I let it slip from my grasp.
Hey, you want to see my bias? You want to see my bias towards Unstoppable? I want to sell the name domainloans.io, and I'm giving Unstoppable the first right of refusal for that name. I've spread it up twice now, and somebody else is showing interest in the name.
Oh,
Yeah, but
uh,
I want Unstoppable to have that name, but that's a different story. If
we're
I
making
could,
a name for ourselves otherwise. Don't worry. We don't need no exact match,
that part,
as Ed would point out, brandables are the future, and we're on that path.
there
But
you
yeah,
go.
I mean, there's a lot of activity in the space. We're also seeing. I saw an article where Armenia recently put their CCTLD. They have like a Web3 mirror.
Hmm.
I'm not even sure what that means. It's through some obscure Web3 company. People are their interest is piqued. They understand that blockchain has come around from being this like speculative bubble to slowly but surely adding real technical value in a few areas, especially in finance and bringing real world assets on chain. So people are certainly getting more and more excited about that stuff by the day. So yeah, we're glad to see other folks um, building in the space and bringing attention to it. Certainly the D3 guys are veterans in the industry and bring a lot of credibility to it. So we're keen to see what happens as we build it out. Yeah, so let's pivot and talk about some other stuff. We've got some product updates. Ed, I'm gonna let you go, but again, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you being here, showing up and giving us some more information and yeah, hearing about the esoteric world of backlink hacking. So appreciate you coming on, man.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Cheers.
Bye.
and we'll wrap up the rest of this here ish. Let's go through some recent tweets here, and I can show you a bit of
are we
what
doing any appraisals for anyone?
we can do that. Yeah. So guys, if you're in the chat, drop some recent domains that you got and
How do I see
the
those
pricing you
comments?
got.
How do I see the comments? Where do I click?
It's
What do I
very
click?
strange on Twitter. Like if you show up late, it does. I think it only shows you comments that were posted from after that you were there. And so if you like open the live chat late, you don't see the full history. At least that's how it appears to me. So guys, if you're in the chat, share some of your domains and the valuations, and Ish and I will take a look at them and we'll give you some feedback. It might be respectful feedback. So be prepared to get roasted, and also
Respectfully.
share the pricing so we can also help you calibrate on that. And in the meantime, let me show you guys what we recently launched at Unstoppable, which is our new domain dashboard. So let me
Awesome.
share that right now. So we got a lot of feedback from you guys that our dashboard needed revamping. And so we recently added, beyond making the navigation a little easier and making it look nicer, we added a bunch of new columns. So you can see, obviously the for sale prices and tags like you could before. But now we also show at a glance all the name servers that you have configured for a particular domain, any forwarding or DNS records that you also have. And if you click into any of these, you can go straight to editing it. So it makes it a whole lot easier to just see at a glance what's going on in your portfolio. And right now, it it currently doesn't support this, but soon you'll be able to like sort and filter by name servers. So if you're trying to find, a domain that doesn't have a lander configured or is pointing to the wrong name servers, you should be able to quickly find that and reconcile. So yeah, and then we'll be able to allow you to custom configure the columns that you want to see. And so yeah, more and more of this dashboard is getting fleshed out for power users that want to be able to drill into their portfolio a little bit deeper.
Do you know the best ways to get feedback, raw feedback, when it comes to like a SaaS? Take a screenshot and ask ChatGPT to roast it. And you want to talk about respectfully? It's going to give you some, but it's going to show you some things that you might have overlooked.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I always do that. I'll roast anything I do because, I don't always take everything it says, verbatim, but I might see something that's like, I'll consider constructive feedback.
Yeah, of course.
But
Well,
I can say
that's
these
how
are
I
great
use
features.
Twitter. I'd rather get it straight from the horse's mouth, the thousands of domainers out there. But yeah, that's good too. I have always had this prompt on like custom prompt on ChatGPT for like making it be extremely crass and blunt and just like brutally honest, and it always
Right.
gives the funniest feedback. But yeah, so dashboard's coming together. We'll soon have like quick buttons for unlocking domains and being able to also export a lot of this data via CSV.
Nice.
Currently, we need to get, some of the extra columns piped into the CSV export, but it's coming together. So if you got comments on that or feedback or requests that you want to see, just go to my tweet or comment here below, and we can try to get those addressed and incorporated into the next
When it
release.
says this tab that says contacts, can you click on that? What does that do?
Contacts.
Right.
Well, basically, these are, don't look at my address, people.
Oh, you can change that. Okay, my bad. You didn't have to show it. Oh, just basically your
It's
information.
your ICANN registration information that you autofill
Right.
when you register a domain. So yeah, you'll soon be able to like pre-configure name servers or presets that you want to apply to every domain that you register at Unstoppable. Yeah. And so just making that configuration a little bit easier for you.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's a big update. We know people have been wanting that for a while, and lots of other stuff coming down the pipe. Soon you'll be able to, in a couple of weeks, or so. You'll be able to list from another registrar. So you can use this like a marketplace, like any other third-party marketplace, not have to fully move over and still get exposure to our customers. And you'll be able to use our 3% commission landers for self-brokerage to be able to, continue to get extremely cheap self-brokerage fees, even if you have your domain at another registrar. So lots of interesting stuff coming down the pipe soon. So stay tuned for that. We've got some other tweets here I wanted to get to. Matt made a great observation the other day. I mean, this is something we think about quite a bit at Unstoppable. I mean, we're seeing mine.com go to drop catching and go to auction, and it was up to $367,000 the other day, which is just insane. We've seen, it feels like one of these every month or so that's breaking $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 on drop catch. And Matt's pointing out, it's just insane that both the registries and the registrars, allow all this margin to be eaten away by domainers. I'm sure domainers like you guys are very pleased that these can go to drop catching without any middlemen and be able to pick these up for, I suppose, relatively cheap. But I mean, the point is here that I believe it sounds like VeriSign can't actually reclaim these names once they're dropped and resell them as premium names or something like this. But registrars totally have this capability right now. They can prevent names from being dropped completely. They could pick them up themselves, at least to my understanding. Maybe there's like regulations from ICANN or whoever else that are preventing registrars from doing this. But all of that value could be accrued at the registrar level instead of going back to the drop catching. So it's just a very curious inefficiency in the market right now. One place that seems to be trying to address this is Dynadot with DAX, Dynadot Auction Exchange, that basically syndicates together expiring auctions from a bunch of different registrars. So this is before they go to the drop. Domains that are expiring or in the renewal period, the redemption period.
Mm-hmm.
Those can be syndicated and you can query those. I believe some other large registrars are integrated with this network. And basically that allows for the registrars to reclaim those domains, at least some margins on those domains, because they can have the auction be on their platform rather than it going to drop catch.
Yeah, but it's an interesting question. Like, how come VeriSign doesn't call back those type of names?
I mean, it seems obvious, right? It sounds like at least what domain authority here is saying is that they have some regulations saying that they can't do that.
Got it.
And that would make sense. I mean, this whole industry is just replete with all sorts of
rules and
esoteric
regulations.
rules and regulations that prevent
Right.
anti-competitive tactics.
Makes sense.
And it makes for very strange market inefficiencies. But I mean, we do see premium pricing from plenty of registries. XYZ, for example, has a pretty robust premium pricing system. And so these registries are able to make higher margins on the nice names. I suppose, reclaiming them once they get dropped is not on the table.
I think VeriSign is in a unique situation because they operate almost as a monopoly, and they've been around before. All these the CCTLDs operate under different rules, but the alternative extensions, apart from the legacy ones like org, edu, gov, they came around a little later, 2012. So
Right.
maybe VeriSign operates under a different guideline than the XYZs of the world, which are,
Right. Yeah. it just, all these rules add up to have very strange consequences. Like, for
And
example,
opportunities for innovators.
yeah, yeah. But for example, like every registry is required to provide every registrar with the same pricing. So if .com is giving a deal to GoDaddy, they have to give the same deal to Unstoppable.
Yeah, it's a wholesale price. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So what is the actual cost of
which is
a
obviously
.com?
not how a business would be run normally, right? Like
Right,
normally
right.
you would have
Volume.
like, you know, some registrars would have more pricing power and they would like,
Right.
you know, fetch lower pricing and more competitive pricing, and it would be, more of a liquid market between registries and registrars. But now in practice, everyone has to offer the same thing, so it's basically like the big guys are subsidizing the little guys, or I mean, there might be some like very strange structures that like favors the big registrars at the expense
Right.
of the little guys. Anyway, it just makes the whole thing, much more complicated and inefficient. So, yeah, in general, it's a very tricky thing when you're dealing with a monopoly on digital real estate. We try to fix that by patching a bunch of regulations on, but it often ends up with strange externalities.
Monopoly, you have to put quote unquote allegedly.
Yeah, I remember. I think Trump actually lifted some price controls on .coms in 2018, if I remember correctly. So that was a
That's why
big
they've been in.
win for at least for VeriSign.
Yeah, that's
But
why they've been increasing the price every year.
those guys print money. I mean, it's insane. They could charge way more than $11 a year too.
Yeah.
It is strange. I mean, why don't you think more registries or registrars have domainer expertise in house and build their own portfolios? Of course, some do, but for example, with listmine.com, not why aren't these registrars like holding their own portfolio,
I think a lot of registrars do hold their own portfolio. I know for a
or
fact that
registries, I should say?
yeah, registries or registrars. Registries have a premium list,
Yeah,
a reserved list. So that's a way of holding the portfolio. They
I guess
categorize.
down the risk curve, like it's easy to bet on like one word English
Hmm.
.coms. Like
Hmm.
those are like clear buys. And
Yeah,
then after that, you get into, uncharted territory where it the risk may not exceed the reward. But it seems like so obvious that the premium pricing should be much more sophisticated than it currently is.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, like you said, these are inefficiencies that create opportunities for others in the future to innovate, and
Yeah.
it's never stagnant. Um, I think the domain space is evolving. It was funny because at the event yesterday, I met people who have been here since 1998, and we were still talking about the inadequacies and things that could be improved on. So it's somebody said it's the Department of Commerce that's responsible for the pricing agreement with Verizon. Yeah, quite possibly. But yeah, there are a lot of reasons why things are the way they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to get to is this old article on name pros, and I went through on my weekly newsletter that you'll get if you're an Unstoppable Domains user. And I went through a lot of this fascinating data out of Adam.com about, conclusions that you should draw if you're trying to build a better sell-through rate. And so you should definitely, join Unstoppable and subscribe to that newsletter to get more alpha like that, as well as all the good stuff that we share on these live streams. But let's roll through some of this data and give some commentary on it. So this chart shows how various root words have different sell-through rates. So home, health, one, fin, and pay all have very outsized 15+% sell-through rates on Atom. And this is corroborated by a lot of the hot keywords that you see released by GoDaddy and Aptenic and others, for people registering names. It often has like coin, AI, my, health. Things like these are generally good bets, apparently. I mean, do you take into account any of these kinds of like root words? Like, do you focus on any of these ish?
You know, it's good data. I think especially when you are looking for names to acquire, I've always looked for some of these words. Like I buy a lot of health related names. I don't own any Zen names, but it's very insightful to know that luxury is a strong root word, and it makes you just like consider that in your acquisitions. You know what I mean? Growth is definitely one of those keywords that I like. I'm seeing others that, I never really considered, like be, ever, fit, city. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is good data for sure.
Yeah. And it all, it's got to align with your expertise as well.
For sure.
You know, home, finance, pay, like these are going to be well picked over.
For sure.
And so you want to focus on where your edges. So next chart, basically shows like if if the keyword is on the left or the right, does it make a difference? And obviously this is highly subjective. It totally depends on the term and just your understanding of the English language and what aesthetically makes more sense. But looks like generally, putting these kinds of terms on the left side results in a much higher sell-through rate. Pay is actually one where I'm surprised to see this trend of left being better than right. You hear Apple Pay, Google Pay, Alipay, like pay seems to be one keyword where it actually makes a lot of sense to have it at the end,
Right.
but the data does not show that, interestingly enough.
And again, we don't know how many paid to the left are out there. So I generally take charts
Yeah,
like this
I
with a
wish
grain
they
of
had error
salt.
bars here.
Yeah.
Get, like this is totally nonsensical. Like any word, like get cruise was like my old company's, get this new app.com, right?
Hmm.
Like that makes total sense. But I don't know how the sell-through rate is even remotely close if you're putting get at the end of a word, unless it's you know, I can only think of one
I
bad
can
word
only I can
where
only think
get comes at the end.
I can think of so many words with get at the end that will pass the radio test or that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like all this
very
data,
strange. Paw,
domain is an art. And so I dismiss information like this. Now, the previous chart where it said these are some keywords, that's more practical and usable in my approach in domain investing. But I wouldn't pay too much attention to this type of charts. Somewhat meaningless.
it's all vibes based here.
Right.
We're in the vibe economy now, so people gotta pull their heads out of the weeds every now and then. These are the ones with better right placement, health, something health at the end. Sure, that could make sense. Better health, something capital that makes sense to have at the end. Yeah, all this is fairly obvious if you're a native English speaker. Maybe it's more interesting for uh, English second language folks who don't have that same intuition around syntax. But yeah, interesting data. Similar charts for AI. Oh, here's a good, yeah. This is a fascinating chart showing basically like how do you incorporate AI into your domain name, and what are the requisite sell-through rates and average prices. So in blue we have the sell-through rates, and in red we have the average prices for three different ways of fitting AI into your domain. So if it's blank AI, didn't you have like outboundingai.com or something?
Hmm.
That tends to have pretty high, like the highest sell-through rate of all of these, but basically the lowest selling price, which makes sense. If you have a high sell-through rate, usually it's going to be well,
.ai.
well, you can't. Well, I was going to say if your sell price is lower, then you're going to have a higher sell-through rate, which is sort of true, but
Where's
it's
this
it's more
chart from?
nuanced.
Where's this chart
This is
from?
from Adam, but it's on a Name Pros post that Name Group put together.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, it's great data. So anyway, bottom line is here that Word.ai is actually the priciest of the three combinations, but it has the lowest sell-through rate, which makes sense. There's very few buyers that can spend $18,000 on average for these domains. So they're going to sell at lower rates, but when they do sell, the payout's going to be bigger. And people generally like wordai.com rather than aiword.com. Outbounding AI salesmanai.com is better than AI salesman, which is kind of a toss up for me. I don't know. It could work either way. But either way, you're seeing $5,000 average prices and very seriously high sell through rates either way. So you really can't lose with either of these combinations.
Yeah, it's helpful in terms of like how you price this type of names. So you
Yeah.
might just be you just might or you might be underselling them or you might be overpricing them. And it's also an average. So each name is unique and you have to apply this with caution and wisdom, right? So, but it's helpful data.
Yeah. I mean, when you're registering your AI names, like how do you determine, are you looking at both? Would you buy both of these combinations or all three?
I
Obviously, the
own,
.AIs are probably picked over pretty well.
yeah, so I own fewer.ai's. I do have quite a bit of keyword AI and AI keywords. In my observation, the keyword AIs are more in demand, but it's very price sensitive. When you sell them, when you price them lower, you receive more offers for them. When you overprice them, people just sort of like look for alternatives. And I think there are a lot of speculators that are picking these up because people feel like the trend is going to go into keywordai.coms. Uh, we'll see how that works, right? But there are a lot of savvy domainers that believe that .ai is just a phase, and we're going to eventually see most of these companies either acquire brandables or they're going to acquire the actual .com version of their name. So perplexity.ai became perplexity.com, right? Things like that. But they're keyword AI combinations, either to the left or the right, that wouldn't need to change their name because it's a .com. And they might buy a .ai more as a defensive strategy or as a redirect.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm sure whoever sold Perplexity.ai isn't too upset that they moved on to the .com.
One came before the other.
Yeah, right. You can be the bridge. So the next chart here, basically Adam has their domain scoring system and sell-through rate that is obviously correlated. And so you would imagine that when Adam was building that domain scoring system, they were taking into account sell-through rate. So you would expect a tight correlation here, and we do. So this is really just Adam tooting their own horn. Props to them. Not too much interesting there. Sell-through rate based on the TLDs taken. Again, not too much of uh, a surprise here. I would love to see like more granularity, like if it's between 5 and 10 TLDs or 10 to 50. What if it's 100 plus? I'm sure it would give you an even better sense of like where the threshold is for like diminishing returns or maybe where the edge is. Because if it's 5, like Weave Robotics, you could be still pretty early. But if it's 100, obviously, that's well picked over at that point.
Yeah, I'm honestly not a fan of this type of charts because, again, domains are homogeneous. They're not a commodity. It's not like looking at the chart of Ethereum or Bitcoin or stock, right? Where you have, units of the same asset, right? every domain is unique, and domains go through different hands before they are end up being utilized or before they reach their final destination. So I always say that we're custodians of these domains. So our behavior patterns are different. And that's where there's an opportunity. But charts like this analyze a small set of data. And I just question the validity of most of it, right? They provide some insights, but it's not applicable for the most part, right? This information in this chart doesn't tell me anything that I can apply, right? I'm not
Besides
going
the
to,
obvious of, register a domain that has other TLDs taken.
yeah, but that's not necessarily a proven thing because now I don't know how many of those domain names are developed, right? You know, if someone owns a .com, no one might ever build on another alternate. I don't know, there might be IP concerns, right? So there's so many factors involved that,
Yeah.
this stuff will never tell that story. You know what I mean? So I'm just very dismissive of this type of charts. They're cool to look at, they're exciting, but you could just like Ed was doing, you could run reports like this all day.
Yeah.
The bottom line is
It
how
needs
many names.
context.
Yeah, there's so much missing context, correct.
Well, let's try to find one you like here.
The only one that I liked so far was the one that said the
The AI
keywords. No, the keywords that.
or this guy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Or the
sure.
ones that's more narrowed in, like the AI. Okay, this is what the average sale is on their marketplace.
Yeah. So here we got sell-through rates of various TLDs. AI and IO outperform IO. That's surprising. This was as of December 2023. I'm sure IO would have decreased by now with a lot of
Exactly.
that demand absorbed by AI.
But at the same time, if you look at the context based on premium listings on SquadL, SquadL has to accept that this is a premium, right?
Mhm.
And they also control the pricing of their premiums, right?
Yeah.
I have a few .ai names that are on Atom.com, which is formerly SquadHelp, and some of them, for example, I own Taser. They think it's worth 58 grand, right? I agree with them because it's high, but I also own, which one is it? I think it's Promotionals.ai, and they think that's $4,000, and I don't want it to be a premium because I think it's worth more, and I kept it as a standard listing. So it varies. It really does. And I think when you say sell through rate, like this is based off their holdings, like what is in their marketplace that they define as premium. So it's helpful to really, really think about the context. They don't own, they're taking the best of the .io names that are submitted to their platforms or the best of the .ai names.
Yeah.
And then those are what they consider premium. So the sell-through rates are going to be higher because this is a screen set of names, right? And
Yeah.
they're controlling the pricing. They're also doing marketing. They're retargeting it. They're negotiating, so
There's
there are
a
a lot
lot
of
of
factors.
confounding variables that are going
Right.
into making this not all that applicable to the
The
average
average,
portfolio.
exactly.
But you can expect, maybe the relative sell-through rates to be consistent across people's portfolios.
Yeah, and then no, this is
And
true, but
unless they're like, I mean, they obviously do promote, I think, AI names more than other names. So, there's design built into the site that's probably affecting these numbers too. So you have to take all these with a grain of salt, but interesting nonetheless. LY, I can't believe is even, you know, in the running here,
so again,
competing with .gg.
again, look at this. They might only have LY names that qualify as premium and only
Hmm.
sold, maybe they
Yeah,
own 200 and they only
not
sold
seeing any error bars on these,
yeah, maybe
unfortunately.
they only sold two of them,
Yeah,
or three of them.
yeah. I remember seeing this chart forever ago, but it's actually beautiful, and it gives you more color around the alternate TLDs taken conversation. But basically, like, this is the average and median number of TLDs taken based on which TLD actually sold. And so, premium TLDs like .com, .org, .net. Well, I shouldn't say premium, but the blue chip TLDs need much less social proof to sell well than these esoteric TLDs like .gg or .y. These guys, if you're registering names here, like they need to have just over, over 100 to 200 other TLDs taken in that keyword to even have a good chance of selling. Whereas in .com, you could be selling a name that's only registered in .com and .org and
Okay.
nowhere else.
Okay, I don't want to get into this data geek stuff. I want to do some appraisals. I have a hard stop at 10:30, unfortunately. Let's
Sure.
give some feedback. This is cool stuff. If you don't mind sharing this as a tweet, I think it'll be great information for people to geek off on. But
For sure. And come to Unstoppable and you'll get the newsletter
right,
breaking down stuff like this in the future too.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so let's look at some of the other stuff we've got here.
Let's do the
Plugin dot
appraisals. That's my favorite part. Plugin.pro. What is the
yeah.
asking price?
Go DID go. Tell us what's your asking price. Oh, I think it's on Unstoppable actually. 14,888.
Yeah, I think it's priced to sell. I'm just not a fan of .pro. Um, it's just one of those names I wouldn't. If I saw that this name sold for 1488, would I drop my jaws? No, I just think that it's it's well priced. Most likely in hand registration. If you just happen to be lucky, where someone feels like they could go with this name, or maybe that keyword becomes more relevant, then it is what it is. It's just, I think it's sort of like a average name. I wouldn't call
Yeah.
it a bad name, but it doesn't get me excited. And Go knows that. He's one of my good friends in the space. So I don't have
Yeah.
to add respectfully. I mean that candidly.
Well, at least, I mean, plugin makes sense for .pro, right? You have to pair the SLD with the TLD, and I think it is sensible. Pro, you're marketing to, power users, whether they're in a specific industry here,
Are
obviously
you?
software, plugin pro, it makes sense. I mean, when you think of plugins, what do you think? Like a variety of plugins for Chrome, for
Software.
Ableton, for a variety of things. Hard to imagine something that encompasses all kinds of plugins for various softwares,
Yeah,
but who
great
knows?
context. It's
Yeah.
listed for 14,888. Now that's
Yeah.
delusional. I thought you said 1,488. But again,
No.
yeah, we're starting to see a lot of these alternate CLDs.dev and others, announce sales. And there's a company called pluginpro.co.uk. Maybe they'll see value in that. When I check pluginpro.com, let's see what comes up. Because all these things matter in terms of how you assess the name, how it's being currently used. Pluginpro.com is undeveloped. That's obviously the name that will set the value for that entire keyword. And there's also a pluginpro.dev, which plugin.pro is a shorter version of. So, you should be rooting for this company to either want to use that as a redirect or an upgrade. But I think pluginpro.com clearly speaks for itself. I
Yeah.
think the name is way too overpriced. I thought you said it was 1,488, and I was like, 14,888 might be wishful thinking.
We've got repurposed drugs dot here, .com. I mean, I don't know what you do with that name. I don't know who's repurposing drugs. I mean, is that a medical term? Repurpose drugs? Yeah, I don't know what that means. It sounds like drug repurposing involves identifying the drug. So it's actually drug repurposing or repositioning is actually like a term used in like drug discovery.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that term, so that's why I said I'll just pass on it.
Okay. But so I think there is some potential there. Basically, like, like some of the best longevity drugs are actually other like insulin drugs, or they're for some other, ailment that they've actually,
Yeah, they're repurposed.
repurposed. So, okay, maybe I would need to understand that market. If you have specialty in drug development, then maybe you have a better idea than we do. But definitely not a term that retail is going to be typing in.
I can't I came to a verbal agreement to sell a name yesterday, and when I was talking to the end user, what I envisioned that they will use the name for was different from what they thought the name would be used for. So I've learned that everyone has a different imagination of what a name will be used for. They were thinking more directory. I was thinking more for visibility. And then I know there's a bunch of us that do this type of stuff, and we want to cover the whole industry and have them pay us for visibility. Makes sense.
Yeah. What about examiner.io? Another Go domain.
It's not bad. Depends on the price. Now, with .io, we're noticing that they're sort of like being, I'm saying less and less .io reported sales on name bio. And I think a lot of those names we're losing a lot of those to .io. So pricing examiner.io at $7,888 is way better than pricing plugin. I think it's priced to sell, and it's just a waiting game. It's not a bad
Yeah.
price. It's not a bad name.
Examiner is not really a term we use in the US. It might be elsewhere in the UK or Australia potentially. Yeah, I don't know what like the vibe that Examiner gives off is not positive in my opinion. It sounds like a supercilious nanny looking over your shoulder or something.
It's a synonym for inspection, you know.
Right. I just don't think that synonym that it has good brandability. It just doesn't feel good on your mouth.
I like it. I actually like it. I think it could be, especially in the era of AI, there's a use case there. It could also be used in healthcare. I own breastexaminer.com. I think that's pretty self-descriptive what it means, right? I mean, people do scans to,
Issue dog.
mammographs. And, no. Get your mind in the right place.
This is like those FBI shirts that
You're psychoanalyzing me. What were
federal
you thinking when you
movie
registered that?
inspector.
Yeah, but a breast examiner, there's a breast examination that women have to go through, right?
Of
So
course.
I can envision some device being called breast examiner, right? So I can see examiner being something that inspects or maybe checks for counterfeit products or, contrabands and stuff like that. Or,
Sure.
Yeah, there's so many use cases. It's a good name.
Yeah, I can see it. What about Bookfast?
What is it? I don't know.
Bookfast. Yeah,
Sounds
I don't know
like
what that means.
booking a flight real fast, booking a
Yeah.
vacation, booking related, but the
That's like,
.co
that's a starter
diminishes.
domain for some upstart AI tool that's helping you, automate booking a
Operate
flight, maybe.
like an
But
operator. Yeah, I don't know. So par.
jet speed, I don't know. That's not a term I've heard. Brandmaker.app, I don't know.
Better than jet speed.
I think these are examples of like kind of mashing two keywords together that don't really fit all that well. It
Right.
reads as like grasping at straws where you
Yeah.
don't have a grasp of the English language, and so you're just mashing two words together that seem like that they're both synonyms of the word, the combination of that you actually want. And when you do that, you're just like what you
All
miss
over
the
the
mark.
place. It's a mishmash,
So
like you
yeah,
said.
I
It
mean,
doesn't
guys, just like run your
best names.
yeah, well, run your ideas through ChatGPT before you register them, and they're gonna be able to give you feedback like we're giving you now on like the aesthetics of a name and whether it actually makes sense to a native speaker. Bikers.club, that's fun. There's like running clubs.
Is it hikers
Bikers,
or bikers? Bikers?
bikers.
What's the asking price?
Let's see, 388.
It's not a bad
It's
price. It's
almost
not a
four
bad
grand.
name. Oh,
Yeah.
3,888. Well, I mean, I can see that happening. I've sold some duck clubs in that price range. I'm a fan of duck club. I still have a decent portfolio. I used to do marketing for them. And, there are biker clubs out there. So
Well, if you like clubs, how about bigballs.club from Raindrop?
yeah, no comments.
Yeah, no, it's just not having it, Raindrop. Settle down. Yeah, plenty of UD fam in that club. AIspeechrecognition.com. Uh, that's a solid name.
What's the asking price for that?
Let's see.
It'll sell
Speech
at the right
recognition.
price.
We did see on the charts earlier that having the AI come first is generally better for the sell-through rate. That's for $1,000.
Yeah,
That
to the right,
seems
to the right,
very much
to
priced to sell.
to the right company, that could be a sale. Those are the type of names you want to outbound, though.
Yeah. I
You
think
do some more
those are
research.
good keywords there for sure.
Yeah,
Dictation, speech recognition,
right.
for sure. All right, Ish, I know you got a hard stop.
Appreciate it.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Ish, you went 12 rounds in there today. How do you feel? How you feel? It came out on the other side. I think it was like I think my conclusion is Ed is a domainer. He probably has a lot of domains that he acquired wholesale. I think his he's being idealistic about the sell-through rate. I just want to see the receipts, you know?
I agree with the same. I think Ed showing up was very brave. I appreciate it. I don't want to have
Yeah.
any bad blood with him. And, I stand corrected on anything that I did that rubbed him or anyone else off. I think, at the end of the day, it's good to be transparent. If you put yourself out there and people ask for receipts, then show them, right? That was the
Yeah.
whole point. And he explained why he did certain things that were confusing to me, like the launch versus the IOA, UNCH. And he
Yeah.
felt that I ghosted him. Like, I would never ghost anyone trying to buy a $2 million name that's serious. So if you need to buy a big name, hit me up and we'll see what we can do to make it happen. That
Yeah.
was out of character. Anyone who knows me knows I like money. So I'm not turning down a $2 million buying opportunity. Like, if I can get involved in that transaction, I would always do that. So maybe there was some sort of misunderstanding there. I'm not mad he didn't buy my name. I just felt some type of way that he wasted my time. That's all.
Well, we love the transparency. That's one of the benefits of a small niche industry like this is everyone knows everyone, and you can be vigilant. And we appreciate you calling it how you see it, Ish, and trying to keep the space honest and safe for.
Well, good. Well, catch you guys next time. Can you hear me?
Well, guys, if you're still listening, it was a good, fun day. We went through just a miry swamp of drama today, but it's good to bring transparency to the industry, and we'll probably edit that out for the real post. But continue to tune in for some alpha. Tomorrow we've got $5.com Fridays, register up to 100, and always got our $5.50 domain transfers as well. So take advantage of that while you still can. We're going to wrap up a lot of those, how generous those promos are at some point soon. So get it while the getting's good. And we will catch you next week. Cheers, guys.